Hey y'all, we are here with Zakiya, debut author of If We Were a Movie. I'm just gonna let you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your book.
Okay. Hi, I'm Zakiya. Oh, okay. I was like, Hi, I'm Zakiya. I wrote If We Were a Movie. It is a sapphic rivals to lovers story about Rochelle. She is type A, trying to get into a good school. So she gets a job at a movie theater and finds out her rival Amira is there. And she thinks it's going to suck. But she and Amira start to connect and get to know each other, and feelings start to develop. And then they're also trying to save the movie theater from going out of business.
Okay, so my first question, how has your experiences working in the publishing industry attributed to your journey? I follow you on TikTok. I've been following you on TikTok. But how has it attributed to your journey as an author?
Ooh, okay. So that's a great question. So it was interesting because I've been in publishing now since officially since 2018. So it's been a while. And it helped because I got to see firsthand kind of what the process looks like and getting to work with authors. And I had a lot of good advice from them. And the majority of the authors that I've worked with, even now, but also at different jobs, have been so supportive. One of my authors just asked me to do a Q&A for their newsletter. So they've been really great to have. So it helped me feel like at least I knew something about the process before jumping into it. I still learned a lot, being on the author side of it, but it wasn't as scary, I think, as it would have been if I didn't know anything at all. Yeah.
That leads me to another question, about the process. So your book is YA. So how did that look like trying to narrow your format of a book to YA versus adult or new adult? How difficult was that?
Do you mean the length of it?
Just sensory, just making it
For yeah. It didn't feel hard just because I always knew that I wanted to write books for kids. I went to the new school and I got my MFA in creative writing with a concentration in writing for young adults. Period. Grad school, woo. So that definitely helped me getting to they made us write a picture book, a middle grade story, and then YA. So I got to kind of feel each age range up. And then I did work in kids publishing for a while. So I worked at Scholastic for 2.5 years. So that also gave me a good perspective of what the voice should be what kind of content should be in there, that kind of thing.
How important was it to you to include sapphic representation into your book?
It was very important. It was the first thing. So I did this with a packager, which is basically they kind of have the idea and then they hired me to write it. And so when they first brought it to me, it was a straight romance. It was always going to be Rochelle, but the love interest was a guy at first whose name I no longer remember. Irrelevant. Right. But yeah, immediately before I signed on, I was like, okay, I like the general idea, but can we make it sapphic? And thankfully they were yes. So I don't know, there was something about Rochelle that I was kind of she don't have time for boys, I don't think. I was no, she's definitely giving one of us, as in one of the queers. And so I was just I knew immediately I wanted it to be a sapphic story, and I wanted it to be a sapphic Black romance where both characters are Black. So that was always really important to me.
Okay, so there are a little bit of mystery elements to your book. Did that just kind of happen as you were writing, or did you always know that you were going to include those elements in the book?
Yeah. So I always knew it was going to be part of the book because that was part of the proposal that they first gave me. But then it kind of changed over the course of it. I struggled with what exactly the mystery was. I knew there was going to be these pranks happening, but the why of it I wasn't sure about. So that definitely developed over time. But it was fun to figure out. I don't know. If you're looking for a mystery, I wouldn't say this is a big mystery. So definitely more come for the romance, but I did have fun writing that part too.
Okay. Who are some of your favorite authors or books that you've read?
Okay, so this is hard. I think we got really great blurbs. And so I love all those authors: Christina Forrest, Leah Johnson, Raquel Marie, who is here. My friend May, she wrote Chloe and the Cashao Boys, which is so good. Yeah, I think that's it. I love a lot of authors, but I was we'll be here all day.
Okay, so speaking of loving authors, if there was one author that you could co-write with, who would it be?
Kennedy Ryan. That would I would fall out. Like I would be, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like what do you, like I literally would be like, are you lying to me right now? Yeah, that would blow my mind for sure.
Okay. And then my last question is, you were on social media before becoming an author. So how have you balanced being like an influencer or like bookish influencer to now being an author?
A great question. No, I'm still finding the balance. You know, I love influencers. I've always engaged with influencers. But obviously I know like as an author now, there's like that kind of like distance a little bit of like, I'm not really an influencer anymore. Like I gotta like shift my perspective a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I always like engage still, like especially when people are tagging me in things or like that kind of thing. But I also like, if I'm not tagged in it, I usually just like don't look at it because I'm like, that's not my business. So that's how I've been doing it. Yeah.
And then my last question, for real this time. If there's one piece of advice that you can give to like a young writer or someone who is struggling to finally publish that book, what would it be?
I would say just keep going. I think sometimes, like If We Were a Movie is not the first book I wrote. I've written a couple before this one, you know, finally became the thing. And so I would say just keep writing and keep trying, and like also like have a good support system. Like I think it's good that I have friends who are also writers and publishing people, but I also have friends who are nowhere in the industry at all and like don't really know anything about this, because I feel like we can also get so caught up in like what people are talking about on the internet and like how like people will get like a little scared about like, oh, well, I heard you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's good to like log off and like talk to people who are not a part of this at all.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me. And yeah, that's it. Bye, y'all.